Hello, hello. Welcome once again to another edition of Quoth the Raven with the Sprite Raven. One of our co-hosts just got in as we were playing the intro. We don't know if he's quite with us yet. Hopefully he is. How you doing, John?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I am.
All right. Then we're all here. It is the QTR Review Crew for Friday Night Movie Talk. Our topic tonight is Nosferatu 2024 by Robert Eggers, starring Johnny Depp's daughter.
Lily Rose Depp.
Yeah, I know. I just say Johnny Depp's daughter. You'll see what I'm saying. Anyway, let's go ahead and get started. I'll let you read, Chris.
All right, this is Nosferatu from 2024. This is directed by Robert Eggers, screenplay by Robert Eggers, based on Nosferatu, a symphony of horror by Heinrich Galeen and Dracula by Bram Stoker, produced by Jeff Robinoff and John Graham, Chris Columbus, Eleanor Columbus, Robert Eggers, and this is starring Bill Skarsgård, Nicholas Hoult, Lily Rose Depp, Aaron Taylor Johnson, Emma Corrin, Ralph Ineson, Willem Dafoe. Production companies were Maiden Voyage Pictures, Studio 8, Birch Hill Roadhouse Entertainment. Distributed by Focus Features in the United States, Universal Pictures International. Release dates were December 2nd, 2024 in Berlin, and December 25th, 2024 in the United States.
Got a question. Did I hear you say Birch Hill Roadhouse Entertainment?
Birch Hill Road Entertainment. Did I say Roadhouse? That's funny.
All righty. Has a running time of 132 minutes, 138 minutes for the extended edition with a budget of $50 million. It received a box office of $182 million. What is it about, John?
In the early 1800s, a young girl named Ellen pleads for a supernatural being to ease her loneliness. Her cries awaken a mysterious creature who makes her pledge herself to him eternally. In 1838, Ellen has married Thomas Hutter, and the couple live in the German town of Visburg. Excuse me. Thomas accepts a lucrative commission from his employer, Herr Nock, to sell the decrepit Gruenwald Manor to the reclusive Count Orlok. Ellen, disturbed by a pleasurable dream of marrying death, begs Thomas to stay, to no avail. He leaves her in the care of his wealthy friend Friedrich Harding and his wife Anna, along with their two young daughters, Clara and Louise.
And Orlok is saying, "Infernal, petulant woman child, waking me out of my beauty sleep. I shall have your very soul. This I command."
Arriving at the Carpathians in Transylvania, Thomas is surrounded by the local peasantry and seemingly shunned for associating with Orlok. He manages to secure a night at the inn by paying twice the rate and is warned by an old woman not to visit Orlok. That night, he witnesses a group of Roma exhuming and impaling an alleged vampire's corpse with a stake. The following morning, he finds the village deserted and his horse gone. He continues on foot until an unmanned carriage carries him to Orlok's castle. Upon their meeting, the strange and menacing Orlok forces Thomas to complete the property sale. Orlok demonstrates preternatural abilities that unsettle Thomas. When he accidentally cuts himself during dinner, he blacks out and awakens to find a bite mark on his chest. The following night, Orlok demands Thomas's locket, containing a lock of Ellen's hair, and does not give it back. He then coerces Thomas into signing a document written in occult script, which Orlok implies is the contract for selling the manor.
Meanwhile, Director Robert Eggers asks, did you know I made a script and produced this same story back in high school as a play? Well, that sure explains the sophomore performances. I thought this was supposed to be Nosferatu, not Baba Yaga.
Ooh.
Thomas, becoming increasingly sick and fearful, demands to leave, but Orlok rebuffs him and demands he remain and recover before departing. After awakening to find yet more bite marks on his chest, Thomas attempts to escape the castle and instead ends up in a crypt where he finds the Count asleep in a coffin, his body naked and decayed. He attacks him with a pickaxe, but Orlok awakens and pursues Thomas. Thomas escapes Orlok and his wolves by falling into a river beneath the castle, from which he is recovered and cared for by Eastern Orthodox nuns at a nearby church. They explain that Orlok was a student of the Scholomance. I think that's how you pronounce it, if I remember correctly. Who became a vampire after making a pact with a demon. Meanwhile, Orlok sets sail for Visburg inside his coffin on a ship with plague-carrying rats, killing the crew during the voyage. Dr. Wilhelm Sievers, unable to treat Ellen's frequent sleepwalking and seizures, consults with his former mentor, Albin Eberhard von Franz, a Swiss scientist ostracized for his occult beliefs. Von Franz believes Ellen is under the spell of a demonic plague-bearing...
Well, before we get there, I'll go ahead and go back and let you finish it, but go ahead.
Vampire called the Nosferatu. Knock is instituted...
No. Hold on. Now, Thomas is saying, I knew I should have taken that Adam West biopic instead. He even looks like Adam West, does he not?
He does. He looks a lot like Adam West right there.
And the real Nosferatu, the real contract, says, yes, you should have. Even Keanu was better than you.
Yes, you should have. Even Keanu was better than you.
Okay. Now,
well, somebody's been having fun with this assignment. Knock is institutionalized after killing and eating sheep raw. Sievers and von Franz search Knock's office, believing he serves the Nosferatu, who they discover is Orlok. Thomas returns to Visburg as Orlok's plague ravages the populace. Knock escapes, killing a porter, and escorts Orlok to Gruenwald Manor. Orlok appears to Ellen and confesses that while he is incapable of love, her pledge has intertwined their destinies and made his desire to possess her insatiable. The document he tricked Thomas into signing is revealed to void the Hutter's marriage. Knowing that his bond with Ellen cannot be sustained by force, Orlok says she must willingly submit to him within 3 nights, else he will kill Thomas and allow the plague to consume Visburg. Ellen later has sex with Thomas after confessing her past with Orlok. Orlok retaliates by killing Anna and her children. Driven mad with grief, Friedrich dies from the plague while violating his wife's corpse.
Yes. And after all that, can I stop watching, please? My eyes are bleeding. Go ahead, Chris. Read the next one.
Help! Help! I'm being repressed!
Hey, Eggers, let's ruin Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde next.
Von Franz's research suggests that the Nosferatu can be destroyed by a fair maiden's willing sacrifice. Knowing only she can stop the plague, Ellen conspires with von Franz to keep Thomas away. Thomas, von Franz, and Sievers go to Gruenwald Manor, where they accidentally kill Knock after finding him sleeping in Orlok's coffin. Realizing von Franz's deception, Thomas rushes back to save Ellen as von Franz destroys the vault. Ellen summons Orlok to her bedroom and repledges herself to him, allowing him to feed on her until sunrise, when the sunlight kills him. Thomas returns and holds Ellen's hand as she dies, while von Franz confirms that her sacrifice has freed them from the plague of Nosferatu, leaving us all with one single, undying, burning question. Is it over? Did we all die of wasting away while watching this?
Like, I mean, is this what happens to us when we watch this movie? Okay, now to be fair, now we can get to we'll get to the honesty here. What did we really think about the movie? We'll start with you, John.
I actually enjoyed it, and I don't know if enjoyed is the right word. Like it had me. That's what I'll say. This isn't. We all know horror's not my go-to genre, so this isn't a movie I would imagine I would watch very often, but I do think it was well done, and it's like, however it sounds on paper, like, to me it was done in a very artistic manner that had me hooked. And like I said when we reviewed the original Nosferatu, like there are images from the original Nosferatu that are now living rent-free in my head, that once you see them you won't forget them. And I had a couple of those moments in this movie too. Like I think the cinematography was absolutely beautiful, and there's a couple of scenes, like there's a scene where you have this white window curtain and you see Nosferatu's shadow, and it just grows and grows. But my favorite shot, and the one that I'm still thinking about even now, is when Nosferatu's standing at the window and he stretches his hand out, and then you see the shadow of his hand just moving across the land, and that was just absolutely beautifully done. The performances, is like, Bill Skarsgård wasn't bad, but again, once you've seen Max Schreck first, it's like he's the only Nosferatu, at least for me.
The thing is, if they made him look like the Nosferatu Max Schreck version, it would have been 1,000% better. This was not Nosferatu. This was freaking male version of Baba Yaga. I'm sorry. It didn't look anything right. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I agree. They should have made him look more like Orlok. Like, he didn't look Orlokian enough. Is Orlokian a word? I guess it is now.
Yes,
it is now.
Yep. So, but yeah, Skarsgård was not bad in this performance, not at all.
Right.
He looked like a murder hobo. That's what he looked like.
Murder Viking hobo at that.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead, John.
But as far as but I thought this was Lily Rose Depp's movie, like through and through. Like she's really, she and the cinematography are really what kept me watching.
Okay. All right.
Okay. All right. I have a question for you, John. Have you ever seen Francis Ford Coppola's Dracula?
Yes, I saw it when it first came out.
You do realize that this is basically a ripoff of that film.
I haven't seen that movie since it first came out. So no, I didn't. But
Yeah, it is so much like it's so much of a knockoff of that version instead of really being the
original.
The original. And that kind of put me off on the film to start with. And then with Lily Rose Depp being the daughter of who she is, who used to be Winona Ryder's ex-lover, I'm almost like, did Johnny Depp pay for this movie to have her star in the film to show up Winona Ryder? I mean, that's how weird this whole thing is to me. I was like,
it's a possibility.
It's
possibility there was some nepotism going on there.
There's just some weird thing going on here. You know?
But yeah,
I don't think she carries the film at all. I think it's Willem Dafoe who carries the movie myself. But yeah,
if you remember Bram Stoker's Dracula at all, this movie is damn near like shot for shot very close to that movie. So
yeah, that's why.
So now you're gonna have to go back and watch that movie.
Boy, Nosferatu and Dracula really have a thing for each other, don't they?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Bram Stoker's Dracula is one of my favorite movies of all time. I mean, because it's just a gorgeous movie. And, you know, I was only in my 20s at the time when I watched it. So it was it hit me, you know, emotionally and stuff too. So it was just a beautiful movie. It was an emotional movie. It got me pretty deeply. So I remember it a lot. This movie, I just kept thinking, like, there's nothing wrong with this movie. There's nothing technically wrong with this movie.
Correct.
The acting was good. I think the acting was fine. I think even Lily Rose Depp, she did fantastic. You know, I mean, I didn't
what
find
she was given and what the director was asking for. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I didn't find any problems with her acting. I know you had a problem with why did he bite him in the chest instead of the neck.
Yeah. I thought that was very dumb.
I'm guessing because of the heart. I don't know. Maybe it's closer.
Yeah,
to the
but
heart.
you're not going to get through the heart through the chest, the breastbone.
Yeah, right.
It just doesn't make any sense.
Well, if they had shown his giant front two teeth, maybe it would have been like, that's how he gets through the breastbone.
Yeah.
The heart. But again, he didn't look like Orlok.
Well, not only that, it's the whole thing is, if you've ever, you guys haven't had heart attacks or anything like that. You never had to have heart surgery. My father has. I've seen, I got to see what the heck they had to do to get through there to get there. A person biting through that would just kill the person. That's the end of it. So that whole point just does not work well for me. That's all.
Monster fan. Hi.
As I said last week, I thought it was terrible. They could have done some amazing things with special effects with some of the scenes from the original Nosferatu. Yeah.
So my point was that there's nothing wrong with this movie, but the entire time watching it, I kept thinking I could be watching Bram Stoker's Dracula and enjoying myself a heck of a lot more right now.
That was kind of like between being bored because I already knew what the story was going to be because I've already seen the movie before as Bram Stoker's Dracula. I was just in comparative mode. Who's doing a better job throughout on every aspect? And I'm not saying any of the actors here did a bad job of what they were asked to do, but if you're going to do a side-by-side comparison, almost everybody on the cast of Bram Stoker did a better job than the cast here, possibly with the exception of Willem Dafoe. But Willem Dafoe eats scenery all the time anyway.
Right.
But of course, he had a much better director in Francis Ford Coppola than Robert Eggers. So you get what you pay for. So,
I absolutely despised what Orlok looked like. I hated it.
Yeah. The mix of traditional movie aristocratic vampirism and folkloric vampirism did not work for me at all. Okay, that's understandable.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah. I had to stop and pause and replay stuff too.
I had subtitles on.
Uh-huh. Well, a lot of it was because he was not. It was like this weird. He was trying to do German and Austrian at the same time.
Right.
And you can't, those are two specific dialect of accents as a rule. They sound similar, but you can't do them both at the same time and make it make sense.
I'm going to say if you've ever heard Chris Barnes sing in his band 6 Feet Under, that's what Nosferatu sounded like. It sounded like he was gargling razor blades.
Wow.
I understand that's not your type of music, but just for like 10 seconds, go listen to Chris Barnes in 6 Feet Under and be like, oh my God, that's Nosferatu's voice.
Yeah. So I know that John's like, wow, he really like tore this up today. You weren't expecting that.
It's all subjective.
Yeah.
It's all subjective.
Yeah.
Well, maybe Disney needs to put out Disney's Nosferatu. And then the count can be
That'd
like,
be something.
oh, how I would love to bite your heart today.
Weirdly, a lot of horror film YouTubers just thought it was the greatest thing ever. Yeah, well, that's the thing is the film YouTubers are so young and stuff. They really don't have any historical flavor from what I can see on YouTube. It's kind of like the comic YouTubers. If it,
right.
We don't watch anything past 1990. If it was made before 1990, we don't watch it.
But then that just makes it sound like a bunch of old men too. So
yeah. Let's see what's going on here. Oh, okay. Sorry, my computer's like having a fit because there's a fire hazard notice for the whole western side of the country.
Oh, lovely. It's on fire again, huh?
Yep. Yeah, it says statewide burn or something like that in like one of the western states or something. But anyway, I know I've been picking on it. Obviously, I didn't care for this movie. I had to do all the jokes just to just make it worth my time to even talk about it.
So, what was your specific problem with Lily Depp's performance?
It's not so much her performance; it's that she wasn't given a whole lot to perform per se. I just didn't feel like she had the same I'm trying to think of the right word for it. Affinity for the character that Winona did for Mina Harker.
Right. Okay.
She just felt like a younger. I guess let's put it this way: if this had been a theatrical performance, it would have been like watching the understudy perform the role.
Okay.
And that doesn't mean that she does a bad job. It just means it's not the same as having the lead actor that was going to perform it in the theater.
Yeah.
That's basically,
And to be fair, everybody in Bram Stoker's Dracula, they really they didn't quite tear up the scenery or chew up the scenery, but they really got into it. Like they were like a lot of melodrama.
well,
apparently she made a bargain with him.
Yeah. No, Well, like I said, I think what happened was, you know, her father is a secret investor in the film and wanted her cast in the role so he could get back at Winona for being in a good movie. I don't know. It just seems like it, you know. But I mean, it's like, yeah, and even that Keanu Reeves guy is more popular than me. And he can't act either.
I don't think Johnny Depp is coherent or conscious of anything that goes on around him.
Even his favorite reviewer from Cobwebs Channel thought it was a 10. Well, I don't know what to tell you, dude. Yeah. He must have like seen a different movie than we did.
I mean, it was an okay movie. I mean, it
was all right. It's all right. Okay. Chris, you gave it 3. John?
4.
I'm being generous with a 2.5. I'll give 2.5, and only because I was making so much fun of it. But no, we will not succumb to the darkness or suck on the thumb of darkness. That's gross. Look at the damn thumbnails on there. You know darn well there's like all sorts of dirt and grunge underneath them.
Yeah, he hasn't washed those things in like 1,000 years.
And I would like to say that I would rather see this Bram Stoker Dracula instead. So I went and found it to cleanse my palate. Much better howling good time.
Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Yes. I can't imagine how disappointed you were, because I was kind of looking forward to this, and I was expecting it to be much better, and much more closer to the Max Schreck version than the Francis Ford Coppola Dracula version.
Right.
I was very. You could tell is like Robert Eggers, like 30 or younger or something. It was like, yeah, I didn't understand.
Or just hire Gary Oldman. I mean, he's still around. He could have played.
Yeah.
So Gary could say, "I have crossed oceans of time to be with you."
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry, dude. We're sorry that they let you down. We are.
But I will say, as a plus, this is better than the anime Dracula.
Okay, that's
you
fair.
have to give him that one.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. That's better than Marvel.
Not
Dracula.
that that's a big stretch per se.
It was just a little tiny hurdle.
Tiny hurdle. All right. John, are you going to be here next week, you think?
Yes, but the week after next, I will not be.
Okay, so next week I have made a
proclamation.
I have made a determination.
A royal decree, one might say.
Next week we're going to go to Pepperland with something funky, something classic. The 1968 Beatles animated film, Yellow Submarine.
Good. I have not seen this one yet.
Nope, neither have I.
So there you go. By the way, I still think the best version of the BBC version from the late 70s or early 80s, Louis Giron and Frank Finlay. I know
there's a bunch of different versions of it. So
yeah, I don't think I've seen that one. So okay, alrighty. But that's our film next week. Again, will be Yellow Submarine from 1968. And so that's all for this week. Thank you for watching. As always, you want to reach out to me on Facebook, Louis Bright Raven, at the Muskrat channel at Louis Bright Raven 2. DeviantArt.com/Bright Raven for artwork. Please hit the like, subscribe, and share buttons on this lovely YouTube channel, Quoth the Raven, Lewis Bride Raven. If you have questions, comments, suggestions for films we haven't seen that you might want to see us try and review, Quoth the Raven LBR72 at gmail.com. If I don't get back to you, try Lewis Bright Raven at yahoo.com. Or if you want to try and get a hold of Digital Crush, Christopher M. Hall, 1973 at gmail.com. Or the Figaro Man, Great Figaro at hotmail.com. You guys have a great weekend too. We
You
appreciate
too, Monster fan.
Yes, and until then, we will be living in a yellow submarine. A yellow submarine. A yellow submarine.
See you next time. Quoth the Raven. Nevermore.
Nevermore.
Nevermore.